Anywho, I think we're live. It is Monday. Ow! And my cat is chewing on me. It is Monday, after hours with WriterSanctuary. I'm Michael, your host. As if you didn't know that already. Anywho, today we're going to be talking about my favorite ways to come up with story ideas. I think I know I've done a blog post about it, and I think I might have done a YouTube video as well. But I figured we'd do it with a live version. That way people can ask questions if they need. We're going to give this a couple of minutes before we jump right in case anybody comes showing up a little bit late. Ow! Will you stop biting me? I shared it on social media at 7, so I don't know. We'll have to see if that matters. Something else I'm going to be doing soon is running a case study on whether using social media matters at all to promote your book. I already know that sharing external links on most social media sites gets buried because they don't like it when people take people off their platform. So that's why a cat meme will get 1,000 likes and your book will get seen by 2 people. So anyway, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail with the case study though. So that'll be fun. Anyway, that was a bit of a random tangent. So we're going to give this a minute and we'll jump in. Bring your topics along if you've got them. Yeah, there's my dog coming down the stairs. Sound like a herd of elephants. And she's not even a big dog. She's just a fat girl, huh? Yeah, you're just fat. No, Okay, I don't want anybody fighting on my lap. Thank you. Hey, Diana, how's it going? We're gonna give this a couple minutes before we jump into the topic. I don't want to be ripped to shreds. Shadow doesn't really care much for banana bread, and Shadow can be a bit on the violent side. Huh. Yeah. You're doing okay? Well, that's good. Me too, all things considered. I created a whole new spreadsheet so I could track every single thing I do, which includes being a home healthcare provider and college work. So currently, if I don't do anything on the weekend, I'm already on track to put in almost 50 hours this week. But I do stuff on the weekends, so that's probably going to be closer to 60. And that's what happens when you have 5 part-time jobs, one of which being a student. But yeah. Yay. Yeah, whatever works, I guess. Oh, and I've been putting more effort into the YouTube channel. This one is going to be, once I can get it edited, if YouTube will let me, I'm going to upload it to Spotify, and it'll be on iHeartRadio, Pandora, and Amazon Music, if I remember right. And Sam's here. So, yeah. I'll try to get these up, doing it weekly. They'll probably be scheduled for the podcast will probably be scheduled on those other platforms on a Friday night. Hi, handsome. Well, thank you very much, sexy. But yeah, it'll be a Friday night thing probably. I'm thinking about having them go live at 6 p.m. Mountain Time on Fridays. That's going to be on Spotify, iHeart, Pandora, and Amazon. I have to set up a whole new account and crap to do Apple Music, and I just don't have the ambition. Fuck Apple. So we're going to give this another minute or two, and then we'll jump right in. You're zapping the piss out of me. Right. Not you. She is. Oh, you're staticky. Pretty girl. Oh. Yep. Now she's just eyeballing the dog. Whatever. Oh, what else we got going on? Oh, I just crammed 80 minutes of schoolwork. Actually, I have to wrap up a brief 300-word story that I'm writing for creative writing workshop. Every week has been a different thing that I've been writing. So the instructor wants me to she's picked out, she left comments on my last ones, and she loves everything I wrote. She just wants me to decide which one I'm going to follow through with for the rest of the semester. Unfortunately, I don't have any idea which one I want to do because they're all pretty good. So, one of them is happens at the same time as despair, but in a different part of the world. And then the one I'm writing today, I'm toying with adding it to the Witcher series, but kind of like a aftermath, like way after. I don't know. I love doing that kind of stuff. So, cat hair in my whiskey. Thank you very much. Alrighty, so let's jump into it. My favorite ways to come up with story ideas with WriterSanctuary. I'm Michael. How's it going? Perhaps one of my favorite methods is doing what ifs. I love doing what ifs, especially if it's like with fan fiction. One of my favorites that I want to expand on that I wrote was way long time ago. I wrote a what if Captain Sisko never broke through the barricade to get to Deep Space Nine. If you don't know what that is, it's essentially the Klingons came and helped destroy the Dominion. Sisko got to the prophets and the whole that anyway. I wrote a what if that didn't happen. What if the Defiant was destroyed? And so I went off on a tangent, and I love doing that kind of stuff. So taking a story that's already there and then saying, yeah, but what if this happened instead? The reason why the Titanic sank. It could have been a torpedo from a time-traveling submarine. Probably not. Or, I think I saw a meme of Godzilla swimming past the Titanic and ripping the hull open. I think it was Godzilla that did it in the meme. But a lot of people have played around with the what ifs. What if Germany won World War II? What if Japan won World War II? So, yeah, the what ifs are kind of fun. Problem with what ifs is it depends on the type of story you're writing. If you want to do it proper, it's going to take a lot of research. If you're doing it with fan fiction, it might not be as difficult because you're already a fan of the IP. So doing a what if about Star Trek was relatively easy for me because I already knew a lot of stuff I wanted to write about. So I guess, in a way, Shadows started off as a what if. Kind of. The first chapter is the Powhatan sinking. But I changed why it sank. Uh-oh. Hold on, I got a phone call. Why did she... Okay, really? Okay. Jen's not Aunt Beth for all of you watching. Is that better? Well, I guess I'll have to edit that out for the podcast. Anyway, yeah, so I was talking about what ifs. What if I turned my phone off during the live streams? No, what ifs are fun. It just depends on what you're writing the what if about. It depends on how much research you have to go into. Like if you wanted to do a what if about something about World War II, for example, depending on the story, it'd probably take quite a bit. So, at least that's if you want to write it realistically. You can pretty much pull anything out of your ass, but your audience is going to want something that has more meat to it, something that's more realistic. You could play around with fiction. You can do a lot of cool stuff with science fiction, horror, and fantasy, but your audience still needs to be able to accept it when they're reading it. So that's one of the reasons why I don't really like a lot of anime. Some of the things I saw were just outrageously, like, beyond comprehension. So if you like anime, that's on you. That's fine. I'm not a big fan because of those outlandish storylines. So each their own, I guess. Respond to your message in Discord. I would, but I don't know if you'd like what I have to write. So, what else we got going on? Next up, Unsolved Mysteries. Unsolved Mysteries is another one of my favorites. It can kind of tie in with What If, but the Unsolved Mysteries, like the TV shows, YouTube is full of unsolved mysteries. Taking the evidence that's there and then letting your imagination fill in the blanks. So that's a lot of fun for me, especially when it has to do with the paranormal or metaphysical. I love doing stuff like that. And that would like a lot of the unsolved mysteries that you can write about. You can do something with the pyramids. That's been done to death, though. But you can make it unique. Like, what if the pyramids were built by aliens or people? What if it was another race that came before humans that built it, and the Egyptians just claimed it? Or I think I made the example once of the Voynich manuscript. This is a book from the 15th century, if I remember right, that can't be deciphered, and a lot of people think it's a hoax. I would use it as more of an incidental plot device that encompasses a much greater story. So, like, we have an alien species that came to this planet through a dimensional portal. The book that he's carrying was about his homeworld. He loses the book, and the whole story goes on without it. And then you find out later it was the Voynich manuscript. So you don't have to center a story around a specific thing. You can just make it incidental. So in that case, the actual story is about the being that came through another dimension, but he lost the book. In Predator and Prey, a short story I have on Wattpad, it was a sci-fi horror in space, and you wind up finding out that the aliens that crash landed weren't human. They were the aliens from Roswell, New Mexico. And never once in that whole story did I say that they were human. So that was the kind of, spoiler alert, that's the kind of fun things I like to do. But unsolved mysteries are a lot of fun. Well, I guess they are if you have a very active imagination, which I have in abundance, actually. I am very imaginative, and I think I border along the line of, was it hyperphantasia? It's when you can actually see, hear, smell, taste, and feel all the stuff that's in your mind. And I do that a lot of times when I'm writing stories or books. That's part of what helps me when I'm visualizing the music videos that I see in my head when I'm walking around in the backyard. I can actually see all the colors and everything, the whole shebang. So it's kind of cool that there's a name for it. For me, until recently, I thought everybody did it, but no, apparently not. Anyway, unsolved mysteries. The cool thing about unsolved mysteries is that there's so many of them, and there's so many ways you can go with it. So you can just put in unsolved mysteries in YouTube and come up with a huge, massive list of just random ass stories. And the cool thing about fiction is that they don't even have to be real mysteries. They could just be something you pulled off a Reddit post. So unsolved mysteries can go all kinds of different ways. You can get a plethora of ideas just from one mystery. And yeah, just run with it. But yeah, it's unsolved mysteries are probably among my top tier. Then we have ancient mysteries. Similar to the unsolved mysteries. Like with unsolved mysteries, you can pretty much take any unsolved mysteries from recent events and create a whole story around it. Ancient mysteries I love because you can do so much more with them. The older the mystery, the better, because there's not a lot of clear records back then, so you have full reign of pretty much anything, and you can come up with a lot of cool stuff. Like the one I left before or said before was about the pyramids. That would be more of an ancient mystery, and and yeah. So moving on from unsolved mysteries with pyramids, we could call them ancient mysteries. That's twice now. Oh, maybe I should just give up. Anyway, the older the mystery, the better for ancient mysteries, and you can go back as far as you want, really. How did the Earth start? Well, could have been seeded from an alien species. Could have been remnants from Mars. Could have been all kinds of things. But just remember that your audience still needs to accept it. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense, and they're not going to watch or not going to read. Well, they'll read it for a little bit, and then they'll get to a point where like, eh. So you still have to make it engaging and realistic for someone's mind to accept, your audience, rather. Oh my God in heaven. Come on, Max. So far, that makes 2 people and 2 cats that have interrupted me. Anyway. And we're only 15 minutes in. So, anywho, ancient mysteries are a lot of fun too. I think I prefer the ancient mysteries over the just the regular unsolved ones, mostly because you can do so much more with them. And the sky's the limit in that aspect. The older the mystery, the harder it is for anybody to prove it wrong. So, and that's the hard part about doing my course right now. Like one of my classes is Lost Worlds and Crystal Skulls, and the whole base of it is critical thinking and pitting fact versus fiction, being able to spot when things aren't real, and trusting in science over pseudoscience. But when you're an author, or when you're a fiction writer, and you start playing around with ancient mysteries, you're kind of going against all of that. So on the upside, I can see the difference, but it is kind of it strikes me funny because one class is teaching me that got to follow the facts, and the other half of my brain's like, nah, we're gonna write it anyway. So yeah, conspiracies about ancient mysteries, those are great. Oh yeah, conspiracy theories, that'd be a good way, a good thing to expand upon. And you can get, there's so many conspiracies out there about everything. So you can take any one of those conspiracy theories or even variations thereof and come up with all kinds of plots, like JFK's assassination. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe he wasn't shot from a book tower or the bookstore or the grassy knoll. Instead, it was an alien cabal shooting from the top of the bookstore using a weapon that doesn't have, like an energy weapon, because of the space race to the moon. Oh, that might be a bit campy, but you get the idea. Conspiracy theories, ancient mysteries, great source. Hang out with a bunch of, just go to like Reddit and look at all the conspiracies. You get come up with all kinds of ideas. So one of the good things about Reddit and those kind of forums is that even though they might be a dumpster fire, they're a great source for stories. Yeah, including Twitter. I'm not going to call it X. You follow any. Well, I can't say any. A large portion of the people on that platform. They come up with some of the most off the wall crap you can imagine. And with a little bit of imagination, you can twist it into something awesome. God, cat. Excuse me. Anyway, so what are we at now? We're at what ifs, unsolved mysteries, and ancient mysteries. Does anybody have any input? What are your favorite types of stories? Do you like mysteries or horror fantasy? Another one of my favorites is something I do quite often, especially with like with Shadows of Night City, is altered reality. I love the idea of being able to write pretty much anything, and then if it doesn't jive right, you just say alternate universe. I mean, hell, if J.J. Abrams can do it with Star Trek, why can't I? So, like, take Shadows of Atlantic City, for example. Those events in Atlantic City really didn't happen. That's the fun about being a fiction writer. But you can alter the reality of everything. So why things happen to certain situations, you can change. Like with sinking in the Powhatan, since there were no survivors, there's nobody to prove me wrong on how it sank or why it sank. Altered realities can be closely related to what ifs. That makes a dog. 2 people, 2 cats, and a dog. Altered reality can be closely related to what ifs. It's just changing things. Like most authors do that anyway. Like if somebody's writing a current story based in London, they may change some of the store names because they don't want to get sued. And so, yeah, would be a version of altered reality. You could always have a different person as president. Most television shows do that have a political leaning, like 24. The president in 24 wasn't really the president at the time. If I remember right, it was Bush that was president when 24 first came out. But they had I can't remember his name. Good actor though. But anyway, that would be altered reality. West Wing, altered reality. Veep, altered reality. So anyway, you just with altered reality, you just take something that's already existing and warp it to fit your narrative. Yeah, I feel like I'm speaking to myself. Does anybody have any input? I love interaction. If I'm wrong, tell me. But I guess I can't be wrong because this is a list of ideas that I'd love to use for stories. So it's my idea, my list. So I can't be wrong. So near. Well, I guess YouTube is deleting my comments again. Let me change the chat again. There we go. No, I just see, Diana, that it says, why would I not like it? I don't want to go into it in the middle of the show. Let's see. What else? What have we got? 4. What ifs, unsolved mysteries, ancient mysteries, altered reality. Let's go with the next one would be random plot generators. I only got turned on to this recently. Well, about 2 years ago. I started exploring the different things that that Reedsy offered. And so one of them was the random plot generator, which is probably one of the better plot generators I've ever seen. You can save certain things, re-roll others. It's you get all kinds of weird things going, but they are far more realistic than a lot of the other plot generators that I've tested. In fact, I have a list on WriterSanctuary.com of different plot generators you can use, and a couple of them are just you look at it like, what the fuck? There's random, and then there's holy crap. So take it with a grain of salt. But random plot generators, good ones like Reedsy. I can't remember offhand. Once I start using something, everything else gets deleted out of my mind. I have a list though, but in fact, I can probably link it. Give me a second here. With random WriterSanctuary.com plot generators. Okay, anyway, random plot generators do really well. Especially if you just need a short story, if you just want to get juices flowing for a bigger project. There's the link. But there's all kinds of ways that you can use a generator, and depending on the generator that you use, you can actually change its niche. Readsy will let you choose between so many niches or genres, and it'll come up with a story. But then you can also modify that to your liking. You don't have to. You can turn a fantasy story into a romance. A lot of people do it. So yeah, generators are awesome. You can use them to come up with all kinds of different ideas, and yeah, that's cool. I think so. I like the Reedsy one. There are a couple of good ones on this list though. Like I'll load it up here. Reedsy is by far my favorite. Then we have Masterpiece Generator is fairly decent. The only thing I don't like about Masterpiece Generator is that it is full of ads. But if you can work past the ads, they have generators for so many different things on it. Seventh Sanctum isn't bad, but it's one of those where it leaves a scratch in your head. The Story Shack isn't too bad, but it's also saturated with ads in like insane amount. I have a screenshot of how many ads popped up when I was running the test. It is stupid. You could barely read what you're trying to do. And Writing Exercises is a newer one that I tested out, and that one was actually relatively well. It worked relatively well. Servicescape wasn't random. It was stuff that's already there, but they're writing prompts to get you going. Big Huge Thesaurus has one it's not bad. Canva and Magic Write AI. I don't like AI very much, but it does. It has a Magic Write AI tool built into Canva that gives you ideas that you can write from. Scribbler's not a bad one either. I had to remove a couple that were on this list before, which is why that's where Scribbler, Canva, and no, just those two. I replaced the two that were there before because they sucked, and I wanted to make a list of the best plot generators. So one was given all kinds of virus issues. So I'm like, you gotta watch your shit, man. Anyway, if you need help with coming up with a story idea, that list 9 plot generators you can try out, and to get things rolling for yourself. I sense a rant coming. No, I thought you loved AI. No. Diana's here trying to stir the pot. Nope, I don't do generative AI. AI will never write a single line of my text, ever. I am a writer. Why the hell would I use a tool that replaces the very thing I love? That would be like... No, I'm not going to go there. Anywho, random plot generators, those are good. Another good way that I get story ideas is continuations of a story or fan fiction. I love doing fan fiction. Like I have the Star Trek one. After I get Fury and Seven done, I'm going to write the fan fiction for Fallout. And then I was toying with the idea of doing a fan fiction of Ghostbusters and more Star Trek. So yeah, there's all kinds of fan fiction up ahead as soon as I get the rest of these things done. I don't want to start more projects until I finish the ones I've got. Otherwise, nothing ever gets done. So after Fury will be 7, and then 7 probably Skeletal, and then the Fallout fan fiction. If I have time. say time is the thigh on which we burn. Anyway, continuations of a story. Fan fiction, in reality, Despair and Kingmaker both started from essentially as writing fan fiction for Dungeons and Dragons. In fact, I had it all planned out. I was going to roll. I still might do this later on. I was going to roll out the campaigns, and then however the rolls went is how the story would go. So even the good guy could die. And after about, I think it was about 5 or 6 episodes into Despair, I decided this is going to be a completely different world with its own rules. And so that's how I shaped Despair, and then shaped Kingmaker and how Fury's coming along. So it started off as fan fiction, but it didn't. It wound up as its own thing, which is, that's a good thing if you think about it. You can start a fan fiction and then realize that there's potential there for your own world, your own universe, your own properties, your own rules, your own physics. Hey, Jennifer, thank you for the $1.99. With the hearts, with the thanks. Going for the #1 spot. I see what you're doing. Anyway. But yeah, doing fan fiction and continuations of a story, those are fun for me. I loved doing, well, the What If was a fan fiction, but I want to, I was toying with the idea of creating a story about a starship that was trapped on the other side of the wormhole before the Dominion War. And so it'll be completely unique, completely set aside. It's still the Star Trek universe, but it's its own ship out in the middle of fucking nowhere. So kind of like Voyager, but yeah, I guess it would be kind of like Voyager, except for it was a wormhole that took them to the Delta Quadrant or Gamma Quadrant. If you're not a Star Trek fan, that probably just confused the fuck out of you. Anyway, continuations of a story and fan fiction are, I love doing those. So, Michael, if I pay you, will you go on a rant? No, you can't. It's one of those things that just happens. I mean, it's more of a natural. You can't force a good rant. However, one of these days I'm thinking about setting a goal that if I hit like $100 in donations, that I'll do a live stream from a hot tub. And I'll probably have people pay me to keep my clothes on. Anyway, love good fanfic. Me too. I'm really looking forward to getting into Star Trek. I want the Star Trek story that I have on 7, I want to expand it to an actual book. I think it'd be great. I already know how it would all go. So yeah. Yes, I will never give up hope. Nice. But yeah, don't be afraid to like with Wattpad, Inkit. There's a lot of platforms, Archive of Our Own, where you can write fan fiction and go off and not get sued. So, sometimes it's awesome. Yeah, I love fan fiction. I wish I get to write more of it. With everything I've got going on, though, I'm lucky to get Fury done before the end of the month. That's my goal. I set a goal for having Fury done by the end of February, so I'm going to be pushing for that. And then 7, I want to have done before the end of March. And then, look at that, I'll get to work on something new. I might actually start on the second book, to Shadows. It's based here in Denver. And I would love to get some research done before I move. So, yeah, I might do that out of necessity. I don't know. I know for me, if I don't focus on one story at a time to finish it, then I wind up getting all these little partial stories written all over the internet that I never wind up finishing, which is why I'm so adamant about finishing Fury and then finishing 7. I want to be able to complete shit, because otherwise they're just partially written stories that nobody wants to read because they're not done. So, yeah. Anywho, Another way that I'm using or getting ideas actually is a challenge I've decided to take on in May. Now, if you don't follow my Substack, which you should, Substack, I think the link is in the description down below. The Substack is my insights of being an author, and I have plans in May to challenge myself. I want to see if I can write a book in 30 days, and it's going to be live streamed every day. And what that is that I'm going to start with the whole thing is getting a pre-made book cover, buying it, and then building a story around just that image. I want to see if I can do it. And then I'm going to outline it and then write the book. So the whole point is to buy a pre-made cover, outline the book, and write the manuscript inside 30 days. Now, I think I can do it. The reason why I'm not doing it until May is because that's going to take about 3.5 hours or 3 hours of my time every day. And with school going on, there's no way in hell I can make that happen. So, I'm going to schedule 2.5 hour blocks of time every day once school's out for the semester, and then see if I can write a book in a month. But yeah, that's one of the ideas is to take a pre-made book cover, take a painting or an image of any kind, and disregard why the image is there and create your own narrative surrounding it. You don't have to do this with a pre-made book cover. You can do this with just about anything. You can get on, if you like Dungeons and Dragons, there's a lot of really nice artwork that you can grab a picture of off of Google and then see if it can fit a whole story around what that image represents. And it's a fun exercise, actually. It helps you exercise your mind into description, and it's I don't know. It's for me. It's just it fuels a lot of oomph behind the story. Like I said, I'm from what I read, I have hyperphantasia, and everything is vivid in my imagination. And so when I see a picture like that, I can hear and see and feel everything that's going on in it. And so it's kind of nice. Once you embrace that, you can come up with some amazing stuff. But yeah, try that. Go onto Google, look up anything that you want to write about. It could be, that's the beauty about Google Images, is that you can look up book and everything, and then write a story to fit it. Even it doesn't have to be a long one, just like a 3,000 word story. 3,000 words to me is like 3 hours, 2 hours, lower. But yeah, just write a short story off of the image that you saw, and see what happens from that. I think that is a real good exercise, actually. I might turn that into a longer video later. But there's all kinds of ways you can get all kinds of story ideas from images of any kind. Paintings. Take Picasso and try to break it down into a story. That would be challenging because, like with artwork, it's up to interpretation by the viewer. Not all art is cut and dried. So a lot of artists leave it up to the imagination. And if you can activate your imagination to come up with some awesome stuff, imagine what you can do imagine what I could do with Picasso. That would probably be one of the most unhinged stories I've ever written. Here's some more. Why is the screamer screaming? Starry Night. What's the story behind it? Are those really stars, or are those alien ships that he saw? There's all kinds of things you can do with art. Just pick it apart. Why does that painting exist? And and you can even take portraits of famous people, like from the 18th, 17th century, and wrap a story around it. King Henry VIII. Maybe he had to battle an alien to get his crown. I don't know. But you can do all kinds of fun stuff with it. And yeah, I think that's actually one of my better ideas that I just came up with. Like I've done I have the note here for using a pre-made book cover challenge to do that. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, God, you can do that with fucking any image, really. Um, okay, so I guess I should say it for those of you who like AI imagery. I don't know. I can't do it. Sorry. I was gonna say put something into AI and let it create an image and then write a story about it, but I know half of you would probably just put that into ChatGPT and have it write the story for you. So I'm not even gonna bother. We are not the same. But yeah, I would do portraits and actual human artwork. Or you can do it with photographs. You can take just browse through images, photographs for just about any topic, and then see if you can take that image and write a whole story around it. That's what I'm going to be doing with the pre-made book covers. So I'm actually pretty excited to try that because I'm saving up a little bit of money after fixing the cat, which is another reason why I was waiting until May. And then, yeah. So I'm going to give myself a $200 budget for a book cover and then write the story on it, which is still cheaper than what we spent to do the cover for Kingmaker. So that's because we spent $250 in props. But yeah, the cool thing is that shadows didn't cost me a damn thing. I did all that in Photoshop, so that was nice. I stole a bunch of images out there, made a collage, but actually the only one I didn't steal was if you look closely at shadows, the wraith is on it, and it's him in a cloak. Well, that was probably the funnest part of doing that because I don't know, not to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty badass at Photoshop. He came out so nice. So I'm still jazzed about that. But yeah, the boat, the lighthouse that's on the cover, that's the actual lighthouse. I had to edit the hell out of it to make it look like it's from 1874 and not. I think the picture was like taken in 2019, so I had to remove a bunch of people and shit. But yeah, I'm awesome in Photoshop, and so I didn't have to spend anything with Shadows of Night City. But I am going to do the same thing with Fury, where I'm going to go buy props and see if I can get a model person. I don't know if it's going to be with my daughter or somebody else to model for Claire, because I want Claire on the book. And so I'll probably spend another $250 on props for Fury, but $200 for a pre-made book cover for a story idea, not too bad in the grand scheme of things. People will spend thousands and thousands of dollars on their book, and I don't, because I'm broke. So when you're broke, folk, you gotta do what you gotta do with what you have. And in this case, I'm gonna give myself a $200 budget, and I've already kind of played around to see what I can get with $200 off of one of the sites, and there's some nice artwork. So pretty jazzed for that. But yeah, use a pre-made cover, use an image, use a photograph. Challenge yourself. Get some juices going. And lastly, my own imagination runs wild. My imagination will come up with ideas left and right for virtually anything. And it's a blessing, I guess. I guess not everybody's imagination works like mine. And it's kind of sad. Like I watched a TED talk of a guy that has aphasia, or aphantasia. That's what it is, if I remember right. And it means that he can't visualize anything. So coming up with an idea for shit, it's a blank. He draws a blank. He works with people who have artistic ability. But he himself can't do it. And started me thinking, like, how many people have the imagination or visualization skills that I have? And so I just started digging into Google, and apparently only 3% of the population have a hyperphantasia mind. And it's kind of cool if you think about it. I love my imagination. It's helped me do everything, actually. My imagination has contributed greatly to almost every career I've ever had. If you think about it, when I was CEO of the computer center, I was the lead tech, and it was my imagination that helped me think outside of the box to fix computers. Yeah, that was that was Joe. I think Joe wants to go outside. You can wait 15 minutes. He's staring at me from the top of the stairs. God, there was one, I can't remember if it was a live stream or a video, where he meowed for a good 15 minutes. Like, leave me alone. Anyway, having an overactive imagination is great for just about every job I've ever done. And yeah. But my imagination is probably my greatest asset. I can sit down and I don't have to think. Like, I made the instructor, I don't know if it made her feel bad, but what happened is that she um, and she called on me in the middle of one of her talks, lectures she was giving to the class, and about how sometimes you draw a blank and you don't know where to go, and you have essentially it was writer's block. And she points at me because she knew what I did. I knew what I did for a living, and said, "Well, you know what I'm talking about." And I'm like, "I don't, because I've never had it." So, and then she asked me like, "You always know where the story's going?" I'm like, "Absolutely." As soon as I sit down, I know exactly what I'm writing, and I've never had a hang up. And so I don't know. I thought everybody's like that, but apparently not. But yeah, my imagination runs wild. I have come up with some. So when I was writing, my first started writing in 7th grade, Mr. Newman's art typing class, he would grade me on the length of the story and how accurate the words were, because I would show typing speed and accuracy of my keystrokes, because I wouldn't do the work out of the book. So he let me write stories every day. So every day for 3 months, I come up with a new story, one more off the wall than the other. One of my favorites, though, that he hung up on his wall was I designed Chad's Roadkill Cafe. I've talked about this before, but it was a menu of a roadkill cafe, and complete with prices and descriptions. It was pretty rancid, but 7th grade me thought that was the coolest thing in the world. So I handed it in. He wound up putting it up on his wall. And the last time I visited him, I think I was in 10th grade. And I went down to say hi to Mr. Newman, and he still had it on his wall. So it was hanging for the longest time. Don't know if it was still there or what happened, but yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Apparently he thought it was pretty cool too. But yeah, the point being is that I come up with a new story every day, and it's really not, for me, it's not that difficult. I can take virtually anything off my desk, and I could come up with any number of stories, both fiction and nonfiction, about this spoon. This is an orange leaf spoon that Sam got from, this one in particular, she got from Texas. I can tell because it's a more deeper orange than the other ones, and the plastic, it feels a little bit different. But you can go everywhere. You can use the spoon as an incidental prop in a plot. I could tell about a story about how the spoon came into my possession, fiction or nonfiction. We can go all sci-fi with it, and this is Orange Leaf has a patent for this design because I stole it from an alien corpse. So there's all kinds of ways you can do just about anything. Yeah, I can pick up anything off my desk and write a story about it. So I'm not trying to like boast or anything. It's just about the way my mind works. But any one of the ideas I talked about earlier today are still valid. You got what ifs, unsolved mysteries, ancient mysteries, altered reality, random plot generators, which I really like playing around with. Some of the plots that they come up with are pretty awesome. Continuations of a story or fan fiction. I love doing fan fiction. I want to do more of it. Using a pre-made book cover challenge. That's going to be in May. That's going to be live streamed, by the way, every day for 30 days. It's going to be a 2.5-hour writing sprint, essentially. And since I won't have school, I don't have to worry about that extra 2-hour block of time that I assign every day. So I should be able to handle going from 10 a.m. to 12:30 with writing sprints with no problem. So I'm excited for that. And using images for stories. I'm wondering if maybe I could break these down into deeper videos on how to expand on each one of these ideas to help people get ideas for their own books and stories. I don't know. What do you think? Does that sound like a dumb idea? Because I could do it. Especially I just went off for almost 10 minutes on my imagination. Of course, I can't really teach my imagination to other people. But I could probably probably help people change the way they think about stuff. Instead of things being white or black and white, realize that everything's a shade of mauve. And you can do all kinds of stuff. Yeah, with just about anything. I see that would be a cool class, Michael, trying to teach other people about imagination. Imagination. Thank you, Diana. That actually, now that I think about it, might make a decent playlist, especially with people that have trouble with kickstarting their imagination to get going. Because I believe most things can be taught. There's no replacing raw talent. Some people just have a gift, but there are ways that you can teach yourself talents to not necessarily rival raw talent, but to get by, I guess. There's a better word for it. Yeah, I think anything can be taught as long as you're willing to learn. So that might actually be a good idea. I think I'm going to play around with that. I am going to be messing around with building courses this month, so that could be a course. Well, I lost a lot of viewers. Well, it is what it is. Alrighty. Well, does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns before we wrap this up? I didn't really have a lot of interaction. I kind of was hoping for more back and forth, but some topics are just not going to be interactive, I guess. That's right. Kind of upset that I lost viewers about halfway through. I'll have to find out where that was or what I said, where people dropped me. Okay. Anyway, to wrap things up, you got what ifs. What if this happened? What if that happened throughout any time in history or even today? What if you decided to have, or what if you decided to ride the bus instead of drive to work today? Maybe the bus had an accident, or maybe you witnessed something that maybe you shouldn't have, and now there's aliens after you, Men in Black. Anyway, what ifs are fun. Unsolved mysteries are great. They're all over the internet. Pick an unsolved mysteries and fill in the blanks. Same with the ancient mysteries. Grab any one of those and fill in the blanks. Try not to be cliche like all the people that do the whole ancient aliens or ancient Egyptian thing, beating a dead horse. Come up with a different ancient mystery that not a lot of people explore and define it. Make it your own. Altered reality, obviously. That's taking pretty much anything that's going on and changing the names and places, or making things different from what they really are, which is what most fiction writers do anyway. Random plot generators. I gave you the list. I linked it to WriterSanctuary, the plot generators. I've got 9 of them there at the moment. They can help you come up with story ideas, even if it's just for practice for yourself. Continue and fan fiction. We talked about that. Fan fiction is awesome. Fan fiction is also great for practice. So, especially if you're writing for a community of those type of fans. So, like if I was writing Fallout fan fiction and I had a lot of Fallout fans interacting, that would be fun. But fan fiction is great for practice. So, yeah, jump on that. Using images like the pre-made book covers or paintings that you find on Google, and then your own imagination. So hopefully those are helpful for others. I don't know if I helped a damn person tonight, but hey, at least it's out there. Okay. Oh, we only have 2 cards left. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns before we wrap this up? I can't think of anything else that I can add to it, really. I think I covered all the points I wanted to make. But no, I like the idea of doing playlists or even classes, courses for using imagination or how to use any one of these. I just hope I do it justice. I have to think not like anybody else, I guess. To me, it's natural. And so learn how to teach a natural ability to people who don't have it. Oh, I've been told I could probably do it, so perhaps I'll try. Anywho, last week we had 2 cards because we missed a week, and so we did 2 at once. Their daily affirmations were: my passion and intensity intertwines with my words. As it is consumed by my readers, it energizes and empowers them. And then we had, there are no shortcuts. Try that again. There are no shortcuts to becoming a strong writer. The only way is through practicing the craft. Today I will give it my all, and tomorrow and the day after. I resonate with that because I don't believe in shortcuts. That's one of the reasons why I don't use AI. Learn a skill. Fucking hate AI. Anyway. Like, some AI has a purpose. I don't hate all AI. I hate the ones who have AI write a book and then slap their name on it like they're the author. Sorry, the bot wrote it for you. You're not the author. We are not the same. Sorry. Okay, anyway, this week's daily affirmation is: the only differences between me and best-selling authors and award-winning journalists are relentless grit, determination, and opportunity. I would have to add, and time. Today I will write as though I am. Whatever my goal is, I will think it, then I will become it. So I see where that's going. But for me, time is the biggest one that I have a problem with. In fact, I'll be making a video about time. Yeah, it's one of my favorite clips I use is Soren on Star Trek. Not First Contact. It was Generations. When Soren says that time is the fire in which we burn. That is true. I don't have time to do a lot of things I would want to do. But for me, I have relentless grit, determination, and opportunity. I just need time to see it through. But anyway, again, one more time before we call this the night. Ain't nobody got time for that, right? Yeah. I'm gonna write a book in 30 days. I want to see if I can do it. But the only differences between me and best-selling authors and award-winning journalists are relentless grit, determination, and opportunity. Today I will write as though I am. Whatever my goal is, I will think it. Then I will become it. Yeah, that's a good thing to think, keep in mind, is that for those of you who are just starting writing, there's no real difference between me and you aside from time. You might have far more of it than I do. Sit down and write. It could be great. Writing is awesome. I love being a writer. I love being an author. I love blogging. Love it all. Anywho, we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. Don't forget these. My books are available on Amazon at the moment. Links in the description down below. It's A Freelancer's Tale, Fury, and Shadows of Atlantic City, which is my latest book. Probably the best thing I've ever put together. I am working on getting everything set up on Barnes & Noble this week, so I'm hoping, especially after I got the last shipment of Amazon books. Amazon's fulfillment center for authors sucks ass. Just put that out there. I want to make a video about that too. Anyway, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can always reach out to me on WriterSanctuary's website, WriterSanctuary.com. I have a contact form there. I am going to be bringing back the author interviews. So if you're an author and would like to be interviewed, feel free to fill out the author contact form that's on the site as well. I haven't been really active on social media as of late, mostly because I stopped doom scrolling, and once I did that, I was far less stressed out. I do reply to the comments on YouTube as quickly as possible, and yeah, I would say reach out to me on Instagram, but I'm really on that either. Instagram and Threads, I will reply to. Like, I still reply to people that write to me on Twitter, but everything on Twitter is automated now, so I don't know. It's a dumpster fire, so I stopped playing around on Twitter. But yeah, there's all kinds of ways to get a hold of me. YouTube's probably the easiest. Subscribe to the channel, the community tab, all of that is all good, fun stuff. So, well, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow on Crossing Colorado's podcast with Sam. Have a good one, and I'll see you then.